Need to create a project scope statement and you just don't know where to start? Well, by the end of this video, I'm going to give you my simple strategy on how to create the perfect project scope statement along with the project scope statement example. Now, if you want to master your next project, you need to grab my cheat sheet and learn why projects fail and how to avoid them. I'll tell you how to get that soon. Hi, if you're new here, welcome. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. For the best project management and career advice, subscribe to my channel and a new video is coming to you every Wednesday. The scope statement secret. Okay, before we can even jump into scope statements for projects, we need to really understand why it's a secret. Secret is, it is the most critical aspect of your project. It kicks you off so that you know exactly what it is you're going to be doing. Now, in the perfect world, when you got the knock on the door saying you got this project, you would have gotten your scope statement from your sponsor. But the reality is, in business, that rarely happens. In fact, I've never had that happen to me. So as a project manager, it becomes really important that you ensure you get a really good scope statement. Now, what I do is I actually use this template that I actually taken from my own course, Slay Project Management. You can get information on it under this YouTube video in the link below. But the template itself is going to guide you as to what it is you need to do. So let's get to that step one. Section 1 of the project scope statement, project information. So this is where you start off with the project name and, more importantly, the project justification or background information. These two things go hand in hand. So you're really asking the question in this section, why are we doing this project? This becomes really important because it lets people know that background information so they understand why they're doing what they're doing. Now, I have an example for you for this too, but before I jump into the example, I want to give you some context. So this is an actual project that we at Cornerstone Dynamics, my consulting firm, did way back when. And it was in relationship to a client who did a vision statement activity, and they wanted to do something even more with the rest of their department. So as a result of that, we came up with an idea, why not do a theme song in relationship to their vision statement? Now, I never did one before, and so as a result of doing a theme song, they also wanted a music video, so we had to test it out. So this is what this project is all about. So let me share with you, based on my template, the actual name and the scope and the justification around it so you understand what you put in that. Okay, so the name that we had was CSD Beta Music Video. I know it's not exactly creative, but it's a scope statement. This can always change, so don't worry about it. And the project justification is the client requested to have a theme song created for their department vision statement and wanted to include the rest of the department by creating a theme song and making a music video. To test out how to do this in an efficient way, CSD created their own theme song and will be testing out the music video concept. So that's what this project was. It really was a beta test for Cornerstone and the suppliers we were using to make sure we understood how to go about it effectively and efficiently and really ensure that there was some good cost savings for our client. Section 2, scope statement and focus. This is the heart of your template. So your scope statement is just that. What is the summary of what it is that you're trying to do? In essence, what are you delivering? And then when it comes to the focus, we talk about what's in and what's out. Now, some people may not think that this is important, but in actuality, it is very important because your scope statement is a generalized statement, which is specific. It's like a SMART statement. It's specific, it's measurable, it's timeline. I can't remember what the other R's are, what the R is and the other measurable. Anyway, if you look it up, you can find it. But that all being said, the ins and outs become really helpful because it gives you even greater clarity with what exactly you're going to be doing and not doing and can eliminate some assumptions. So I want to read to you the actual scope statement we had for our project along with the ins and outs. So the scope statement was to beta test the process of creation of a music video for the client and to understand the details needed to make it successful and offer it as an additional CSD offering by the end of Q4. So we were very specific. We knew exactly what we needed to do, what we were going to be delivering on. Now, in regards to the focus, this becomes really important for us. So let me read to you what was in focus. In focus was instrumental track, recording at a studio, filming of the event, music video creation, standardizing the process. This is really important because if I didn't make that clear in the in focus, my suppliers and other vendors wouldn't be thinking of, oh, we got to make this repeatable so that we can offer a really good product. Now, what was out of focus? Well, the actual theme song, because we've created it, so we didn't have to do that. So it was already pre-created, so we weren't worried about redoing that. And some other elements were not. What was out of focus was adding any additional elements outside of the agreement that I had with my suppliers and making any creative changes without Cornerstone Dynamics permission. So that became important because you can only imagine creative vendors, they're used to probably a lot of creative freedom, and I needed them to be very specific because we were testing out a way of working. So that was a scope statement and the ins and outs, which really kept everything tight. Section 3, supporting details. This is where we now talk about overall high-level project timelines, the actual deliverables, and assumptions. So why is it that we're even doing a high-level timeline here? Because a lot of times you have to connect with your sponsor, a senior executive who's like, oh my goodness, we've got this great initiative, we want you to lead it. You need to find out from them what is their thought process on when it's going to get done. I find a lot of times the reality of senior executives on when they think things are going to get done or the time frame that they give a project for and the reality of doing it are night and day. So having this information now is very critical because when you get into the planning stage, you're going to see whether or not you can accomplish it with what they think it should be accomplished in. So this becomes really important. It's an awesome negotiation tool. It's going to allow you to ensure that you're not constantly under the gun or pressure to be delivering on something that's really unrealistic. The deliverable itself, you just want clarity. Even though your scope statement itself did talk about the deliverable, you just want to be very specific. At the end of this, what are you physically getting? What am I giving you? Let's just lay that out in a 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on how much it is. And assumptions, is there any assumption outside of the things that you kind of called out in the ins and the outs in the focus section that you just really need to highlight? So by doing that, it just gives a little more meat to your scope statement template. Now, let me share with you what we did on this project. So from a timing perspective, we started it in June and we wanted to have it done by December 14th. Now, in regards to deliverables, there were 2 very specific things. We had a music video that we wanted to deliver on, which is Cornerstone Dynamics. And then we also wanted to have standard ways of working, standard, I call them processes. So we wanted to standardize that so every single person knew exactly what they were going to do, and it didn't matter who the client was, it was going to give us the same good quality video. And last but not least, we did have some assumptions. So some of those assumptions were my main facilitator, who is a musician, who was helping us with the video, was a live musician, was in a band. So could be called on tour or on some sort of promotional launch that he had to go on. So we had to make sure that he had a backup. I couldn't just assume he was gonna have a backup. I needed to really call it out. Another one as well as is that all vendors were working in the spirit of standardization so that we can be competitive for the client. And last but not least, we had structured ways of working to ensure, again, as I said earlier on, that we were providing an awesome quality product at a reasonable cost. So that call out was very clear from day one with all the players. And now for the last section, section 4, key people. This is where you're going to highlight who you think needs to be part of the project. It not necessarily means that whoever you list on here is the final list, because a lot of times when you get into project planning, you may have to add people or switch them up. Now, an example here would be, this is where you would have your steering committees, your sponsors, project manager, even the people who are going to be on the project. And for us, we had Adam, who was our musician and video facilitator, Chris, our videographer and producer. We had Robin and Justin, who are part of the actual music studio and recording engineer. And then we had, of course, our talent, which was my team, Mike, Karina, Heather, myself, and some other individuals too. So it was a lot of fun. Now, if you're interested in actually checking out this video, please, I have the link under this YouTube video. You can go check it out. Now that you know how to create a project scope statement, your projects are going to sing. Yay, I'm so happy for you. Now, what I would like for you to do is go to the link below under this YouTube video and grab this, because if you're already into making sure that you are having awesome project scope statements, you need to know what are the things that are going to trip you up and create project failure. And I have all the answers in here for you, so please check it out. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and share it with everybody that you know. I would love to hear from you. If you have any stories on project scope statements, or if you have a scope statement you want to share with me, please put it in the comment below. Until the next video, see ya.